What's up guys, I'm here with another video, and in this video I will be talking about Azure Analysis Services. So if you're not familiar with this, in this video I'll show you how to create Azure Analysis Services. But the first thing which you should be aware is what is Azure Analysis Services. So I think so probably you can see this diagram, but what I will do is I will create one blank document and show you that how this functions. So what it does is, suppose if you have multiple data sources, okay? Suppose I have SQL, I have PostgreSQL, I have, you can assume Oracle, and we can assume Azure SQL as well, okay? So what I'm trying to say here is, I will show you here. So first let me give visual for this. So I will mention PostgreSQL. So I got here PostgreSQL. So this is one of my database, and Oracle, I will take one Oracle database. So this is my other database, and then I will go with SQL Server, which is our on-prem or any other SQL Server. Like we can assume, yeah. So we can take this SQL on-prem. So we'll put it in this window, and our last one is Azure SQL, probably any kind of cloud data source. It could be either AWS, or see, we have bunch of data sources, so we can integrate any kind of data source in Azure Analysis Services. But there is certain limitations, so you have to go through the document. I'll put this document in the chat window. But before that, what I'm trying to say is, so what Analysis Services does is, no matter how many data sources you have, it just combine all the data in one particular model, and then you can further distribute that to your clients, or whatever designing or development kind of thing you're going to do. So I'll give you an we'll draw an diagram here as well, just to make sure you're understanding everything. So I'll take this again. So as you can see, I have given you complete visual, and at last I will give here Azure Analysis Services, and I will give a icon for this as well. Okay, so probably I don't think so we'll be having, we'll give it a try. Okay, we have, yeah, here it is. So this is our Azure Analysis Services. It combines all kind of data sources, and it give one particular model, and from here what we can do is we can distribute, we can create report, we can develop most of the our what we say development kind of scenarios. Like if you are giving some visual or visual representation to create one report and those kind of thing. So probably I'll mention this as like one of our Microsoft one is Power BI. So I'll just put here Power BI, as you can see. So this is one of our report viewing technology. Like it gives you visual representation of data. So I think so already you will be aware. And the same thing, you if you have any on-prem SSRS or any other kind of reporting tools, then you can integrate that as well. Okay, so this is how it works. So I can put here SSRS, PBARS, Power BI reporting services. So these all are on-prem. So I can just put this diagram, and this is how it functions. So in middle, as you can see, our analysis services is involved, and here are multiple data sources. So frequently we can do refresh and all. So in future we'll be talking more about this model, how this analysis services work. But I just want to give you an overview of this, how what is analysis services. So this is just basic simple thing. So where we combine all different kind of data sources, and we'll create one particular data source. Basically it is called model, and it is SaaS application provided by Azure, if you see here. So I'm going to create and show you that, and after that you can, with that model, you can create your data sources, sorry, your data sources, I'm saying the development or visual, any kind of thing, and you can just upload it to your give it to your that report to your client, so that they can directly access the data. So this is how it works. Okay, so if you want to have more idea, as I mentioned, you can visit this document. We'll have a number of explanation about this development kind of scenarios. If you are familiar with Visual Studio, so most of this models has been created as a Azure Analysis Services model will be created in Visual Studio. So probably in future I will show you that. So similar to that, we have on-prem as well. So on-prem, it is called SQL Server Analysis Services. So in SQL Server Analysis Services, we have two different models. One is tabular and one is multi-dimensional. We'll talk about that in future. But when it comes to Azure Analysis Services, we support only tabular model. Sorry for giving you false information. It is platform as a service, which Azure provides. I told software as a service. So my apologies. So these are the things about Azure Analysis Services. Now we'll go back to our Azure portal. Okay, and you have not seen our previous videos of Azure, like creating SQL and many other Azure videos and all will be created, Azure platform videos. So you can just go through that. And meanwhile, so if you are into Azure portal, if you don't have account, watch our previous video to create one Azure Analysis Services account. Sorry, Azure and Azure account. So here, what we have to do is in the home search bar, as you can see, you have to type Azure Analysis, and you have to mention services. Okay. So as soon as you mention, you can find the list of services here, but if you're not visible, as in my case, you can see sometime it doesn't recognize, I don't know why. Just type analysis services. Okay, as you can see. So once you see that the analysis service is present here, platform as a service. So as you can see, currently I don't have any analysis services. Okay, so what I have to do is, as the purpose of this video is to create one new analysis tool, analysis service tool. So I'll create analysis service. So now I have to give one server name here. So let's give a name. So in my case, I will give trial, as you can see, and I'll put this under my, Azure subscription, the first subscription which is populated. Now for this, I'll create one new Azure resource group. So if you have already one, you can just put it over there. But in my case, I can see I've created one because I don't have any Azure resource group. So here I will select region. So I'll put here, so as you can see, West India. So I'll just select West India, or you can go with some other, region as well. So depending on the requirement, whichever you want, whatever region you want to put in your analysis services, just select the region. So in my case, West India. And coming to pricing tab. So pricing tab, we have three different models, and we have developer, we have basic, and we have one more is standard. So if you go to this document at the basic, you can see that what and all developer tires provides you, and when it comes to basic tire, what and all it provides you, and when it comes to standard tire. So these are the three tires which currently analysis services is available, and depending on the tire, and we'll get options like to select QPUs and memory. As you can see, developer D1 comes with QPUs of 20 and memory of 3 GB, and when we move to further plans like basic tire, we have B1, B2, and we have standard, and we have this other tires as well. So okay, so and coming to the availability zone, if you are going for replicas, then probably you have to, deploy your model in the region where we have most query or replicas available, as you can see here. So if you are deploying your analysis services in Azure Australia is, so we'll get three replicas, and the same model or same thing if you deploy it in Australia East, you will get only one replica. So make sure whatever, your model you are going to deploy, or whatever is your use case or scenario, depending on that, you're going to choose your region, and based on that replicas. So replicas is nothing but, you can say, scale out deployment. It is like a load balancer. So whatever query is being hit to your analysis services, that will get equally distributed. Okay, so this is the basic thing which I'm telling. So if you go deeper into that, we have much more things to deal with that. Okay, so I'll discuss in further videos. So this video is just very simple. Okay, as you can see, I was telling that we have developer version, and basic and standard tier. So suppose if you create a, your analysis services is in, you create analysis services in developer tier. Okay, so in developer tier, we have only one plan which is currently available, that is D1. Okay, so this is the basic which you have to start. Now suppose if you, after creating the analysis services, your requirement is more, your server is overloaded. So what you do is, once the server is overloaded, so what you do is, you will move to your basic plan. Okay, so in basic plan, suppose if you move to B1 and later you realize that no, B1 is also not sufficient, so you have to move to B2. Correct. Now what I'm trying to explain here is, you can, whenever you are switching between the tire, suppose this is basic tire, so from basic tire, sorry, from developer tire, you can move to basic tire. Okay, but you cannot go vice versa. Keep in mind this, that whenever switching from a, higher tire, like switching to higher tire from D1 to B1, it is possible, but from B1 to D1 it is not possible. Okay, and as I mentioned again, the same follows further as well. Now suppose you are in B1 or B2, and you move to standard tire S0, S1, S2, and then you want to switch back to B2, it is not possible. Okay, so make sure that whenever you're, going for any plan, either basic tire or standard tire, probably you'll be dealing with the basic tire. If you're not into, just for trial you're using, then you can go with developer, and if you're into production or server going to deploy some other thing, then probably you have to, check for basic tire or standard tire. So as I mentioned, you can't move against the tires. I mean to say that from developer to, sorry, standard to basic, or developer to tire. So always you have to move forward like developer to basic and basic to standard. Okay, now some of the few of them will be having questions. Suppose you are in B1, can we move to B2? Yes, it is possible. Obviously it is, you are upgrading. But the second question will lies here is, from B2 to B1 you can move. Yes, it is definitely possible. You can easily move from B1 to B2. So within the tire, I mean to say that within the tire you can move from S0 to SV29. So it is very simple. So within the tire, standard tire, you can go from S0 to S4. You can go from S4 to S9, then S9 to S4, or S4 to S2. You can, within the tire you can move, but not against the tire. I mean to say that from standard to basic you can't go, and basic to developer you can't go. Okay, so this is the basic overview which I have given. So if you go to our first diagram, so this is what it is saying. Okay, so depending on your use case, you can deploy the model. So in my case, I'm just making this video for education purpose, so I'll just select D1, and this is the thing. Okay, so we have selected the server name. So this server name will be used to connect to your models or Power BI anywhere. Okay, so depending on that, whatever server name you give, make sure it is it is generally available. So if it is not available, it will give you a pop-up, but in my case this name is available, so I'm not getting any kind of pop-up. Okay, so this is the done. Now at the last part we have administrator. Okay, so we have to select one administrator, so I'll click on select. So what you have to do here, administrative, so whatever account you're logged in, okay, so you have to make that particular account as an administrator. Or if you are into organization and if you want to make, you are making this server for somebody else, you make sure that whomever you are trying to give this access, you put his alias or enter id, whatever we say. So depending on that we can select that and it will work. Don't think that like we have SQL, we have Oracle, so we'll be having two different or three different kind of window authentication. Like we have Windows authentication, SQL Server authentication, or a database or password with authentication, and one more we have Enter ID. Okay, so all those are database, but when it comes to Azure Analysis Services, it supports only one kind of authentication, that is Enter ID authentication. Okay, so now you'll be having doubt, how should we give access to this analysis services to different users? So probably you can create, we have app Enter ID, so we can create one app registration and you can give access and then they can easily access. So that is how it works. So once you give the administrator, so I'm not able to select it because due to some permission issues. You should click on select. Once you click on select, here you have to type the email ID or alias or an Microsoft Enter ID, whichever you are logged in my case, as you can see, I have logged in with my account, so I'll give here my account, and I will select. Once I select, I go back, and here the administrator will be selected. So once this is done, you have to just hit create. Okay, so nothing to do, nothing to worry. So we have firewall rules and all, I'll show you that in a minute. So meanwhile, here this is the first step, what and all you have to do. Okay, so I hope you got the idea until here. So once you click on select, you will get all the list of users. So depending on whom you want to make administrator, just give that particular account. In my case, I'm using my own account to give administrator, so I'll just select this. Okay, after selecting, it will be popped out in the right side, and you have the bottom, you have to select, you have to click on select. Hope you got the idea about this. Now we'll click on create. As you can see that my development has been completely successful, deployment has been completely successful, and I'll just click on go to my resource to get the details about Azure Analysis Services. Once I click on that, as you can see, I have created my server name. I'm hoping that you are beginner, and as you can, I can say you that no matter what you use, we can see here two servers, management server name and server name. So you can use any of the server details, so that is not going to impact anything. Okay, so when this will impact, when we create replicas. Okay, so we'll talk further about this in future videos. So as per now, our idea was to create just analysis services, so you can use any of the server name to connect to any of the tool, SSMS tool, and we have Azure Data Studio, or if you want to connect through Power BI desktop, you can easily do it. Okay, so these are the thing. And as you can see, pricing tier, we have selected D1 developer, and if you want to upgrade, you can just go to pricing tier here in the left pane, and you have the options to upgrade it. Okay, and the cost will be also visible, the estimated cost will also be present here. So depending on that, you can easily upgrade or downgrade it. Okay, so as I mentioned, within the tire or outside the tire, easily you can do it. Okay, so these are the things about the Azure Analysis Services. And coming to overview, so as you can see, all the things are listed here, and now we don't have any model. As I told, if you go in our previous, if you go to our starting beginning of this video, I have shown you that it created model. So just now we have created a server. Now we have to create one model. Okay, so model is basically nothing but kind of database, you can say. In tabular model, we have bunch of databases where we get all the list of data sources, and we create one particular model, and then we'll distribute it further. Okay, so that kind of model I'm talking. So this is the sample model, whatever I'm going to create here. As you can see, new model, I'll hit new model, sample model. As you can see, I'll click on sample model and click on add. Okay, so what this does is it will create an sample model for me so that I can work on it. Okay, so I was having some issue in creating it. Once a model is getting created, it will be visible here. So in my case, it is not present due to some permission issues. Okay, I'll check that later. So this is what I was trying to explain is once the model is getting created, you can just work on it. It will completely up to you how you want to customize it. Okay, and where you want to use it. In coming videos, I'm going to show you how to deploy model from Visual Studio to this Azure Analysis Services by using multiple data sources. Okay, so I will be using Azure SQL, I'll be using PostgreSQL if I have, and also I will be using on-prem SQL as well. So all this combined together, I'll create one model and then I will upload it here, and then I'll show you how this analysis services work. But in this video, this was it, like how to create a sample analysis services model and also the server. I hope you got the idea about pricing tier, whatever SQs you want to use or memory you want to use, how to select that. And also, if you see in the manage, will be listed all the databases here. I mean to say the tabular model. So we can say as database as well. So generally everybody calls it. So that is the reason. And if you want to change your administrator, analysis services admin, you can come and change here easily anytime. And coming to on-prem gateway, so we'll be discussing about this in future videos. So as I mentioned, that when we combine multiple data sources from different machines, like if you have on-prem machine, then probably we need gateway because it can't communicate. Okay, directly it can't communicate. So that is the reason we need gateway. So we'll talk about this. And if you want to create backup and all, you can create it. And coming to the last part, firewall. Okay, so firewall by default it will be off. Okay, so if by default it is off, it means that anybody from public also can easily connect to your server using this server name. Either it could be management, either it could be server name. So make sure that you turn on the firewall and add the IP, which is your current client IP. So current client IP means the machine which the current machine which you are browsing this Azure portal, it will automatically be visible here. Just click on save. So what happens is, so whenever you try to connect to analysis services from any of the tool, okay, from this machine, it will recognize and it will give you access. Okay, so make sure that you do this, otherwise you can't connect to your analysis services. So this was just overview what I was explaining to you. Okay, so if you have any doubt, any questions regarding this, how to create models, and if you have any other doubt, further question, you can on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, anywhere you can just message me. I will probably try to help you. So this is all about it. So in upcoming future, as I told, I will be going through other videos as well regarding this same analysis services. So keep seeing my channel, and I will be seeing you in next upcoming videos. Bye bye.